By the end of this video, you will know how to pack colour and black while we're at it. You are really going to be getting not just the spaghetti, but the meatballs also. I will also be showing you on more than one machine. Each machine has a different stroke and a different feel. Now those machines are the Bishop Wand Shader 3.5 stroke, the Bishop Wand Packer Stainless Steel 4.2 stroke, and the Fold Pro using the 2.4 stroke variant. Now this is to show you that the reason you are struggling to pack colour or black isn't because of the machine you are using or the stroke of the machine or the feel of the machine. And there is absolutely no need for you to go out and buy a specific machine just to pack colour or just to pack black. Now don't get me wrong, specific machines, yes, they do help. A higher stroke machine generally is going to be better for packing colour and packing black, but you do not need them, and this video is going to prove it. The needles that I will be using for this demonstration are a 7 curved mag and a 13 curved mag. Both those needles are a 0.30, sometimes referred to as #10 or 10 gauge, and a 23 curved mag 0.35, often referred to as #12 gauge. Now the reason I'm not going to be using any round shaders is because typically you pack large areas with a mag. Round shaders are used for smaller areas and it is generally easier to pack with a round shader. There is not many artists out there that struggle to, to fill in areas with a round shader, but they do with a mag. So that is the reason for no round shaders. Now I am using curved mags for the purpose of the demonstration, but if you are an artist that prefers a straight mag, then that is absolutely fine. In fact, I would say that straight mags are actually better for packing colour and packing black. With a curved mag, because the needle is curved on the edges, those edges are at a different depth than the center tip of the needle. A straight magnum, you don't get that. It is completely straight. Each individual needle is hitting at the same depth, providing your hand is at the right angle, of course. So if anything, I'm also proving that colour can be packed with a curved and a straight, plus these different sizes of needles, plus the different machines. Again, meatballs people, meatballs. Now I know what you're probably thinking, why the different gauges? Well, generally, typically, alright, 0.35 or #12 gauge needles are gonna be your go-to needles for packing, and that's across the board for everything, especially larger areas and if you are doing blackout tattoos. And that is simply because a 0.35 needle, which is a bigger gauge, leaves a bigger hole, which deposits more pigment, which gives a better saturated look. They also deposit pigment a lot quicker, which gives you faster coverage.
But Rav, your 7 curved mag and your 13 curved mag are both 0.30, #10 gauge. And yes, they are. You are correct.
Meatballs, people. Meatballs. There's not very many artists these days that use a 0.35 needle. I think the majority of artists going out on a limb are using 10 gauge these days. If I'm wrong, feel free to roast me in the comments. Now I also know what you're wondering, but what voltage will you be using? I can see you right now, just scrolling through the chapters looking for the voltage. It's coming later, alright? And there's a reason it's coming later. I'm going to explain something to you. So stick around. Sorry to interrupt guys, but I think you're going to like this. I'm in a fortunate position where I have sponsors, and I have actually gone to those sponsors to get involved in a giveaway. Empire Ink and Dougie Butter will be chucking together a mystery box for one of you lucky viewers. All you have to do is comment on this video, like the video, hype up the video if you want, and you are in for a chance. Every single comment is classed as an entry. Now it is a mystery box, but if I know my sponsors, trust me, it is going to be a fucking cool mystery box. And it also doesn't matter where in the world you are, because international shipping exists. Back to the video. So firstly, let's just go over hand positioning. Now when I'm packing, I am generally staying at around a 45-degree angle, working in smaller circles or a back and forth, but we'll go over that in a sec. However, you can also work a little bit more upright at a 90-degree angle, and do the exact same thing. Hand positioning doesn't really matter so much when you're doing like smaller areas or you're using color, but when you are using black, it matters a lot. So 45 or upright, whichever you prefer, just be comfortable. So let's briefly just talk about needle depth. Now, firstly, it's important to realize that the dermis layer of the skin that we tattoo into is at different depths depending on the body area. For example, the eyelids dermis is a lot shallower than, let's say, the bottom of the feet. So take that into account when you pick your depth. But for the purpose of this demonstration, we will be setting our depth to around 2mm. So depending on the size of the needle that you use will depend on how you change up your technique. So for example, the rule of thumb that I like to stand by, no matter what technique I use, is that I stick to the width of my needle. So let me just give you a brief demonstration. So as you can see, we've got some red there. So what we're going to do is we're going to create like a little cross, not moving. And then we're going to come back this way. Right, okay. Now this circular area here is the amount that you want to be moving when packing your color or your black with this needle, which is the 7 curved mag. So just a brief demonstration. Sticking within that area. And that goes for any size of needle that you may be using. If I was using a 13, I'd be able to go a little bit wider on those circles, and then obviously a 23 even wider. It all depends on the size of the needle that you are using. Think about that little cross and keep in that area. You'll be absolutely fine with any single needle that you use. Now there's a few different techniques that you can use while packing. The first being the standard, which is a round circular motion, again staying within that needle width. Now I'm going to show you now with all 3 needles plus all machines. So firstly, we have the Bishop Wand Packer stainless steel 4.2. This is the round circular motion. Now we have the 13, again, Bishop Wand Packer. And finally, the 23. The red that I'm using, by the way, for those that want to know, is by Empire. So this is the Bishop Wand shader. This is 3.5 with the 7 curved mag, round circles. .13 curved mag. And 23 curved mag. And now finally the Dragonhawk Fold Pro at 2.47 curved mag. $13. Just like that. And then finally, 23. All voltage, by the way, has stayed the same throughout every single needle that I've used on each machine. And there's the first technique, a 4.2 Bishop Wand Packer, a 3.5 Bishop Wand Shader, and a 2.4 Fold Pro. So that right there is probably the most universal packing technique that you can do as a tattoo artist. Small circular motions, staying within the width of the needle that you are using. And I've just shown that it can be done with different machines at different strokes with different needles. Now, because I don't want to bore you, for these next two techniques I'm going to show, I'm going to be using just one machine. However, I'm still going to be using the 3 different needles. But I promise you that every single technique that I show in this video can be done with every single tattoo machine, just like the circular motion I've just shown. Now, the next technique that I'm going to be showing is the pendulum technique. Yes, you can pack with the pendulum technique. You don't have to use these small little circles. So what we are going to do is, just like when we're using the pendulum technique to build up, is we are going to go back and forth. So as you can see, as I've just wiped away, it's not as strong as what this pack is. So I know that I need to do some more. Now I would say the only real difference, even though it is a pendulum technique, is that I am being a little bit more heavy-handed to get it in there. With pendulum, generally you're building up tones, or you're building up color, but we don't need to build up. We want that full saturation as quick as possible. But as you can see, it's getting pretty close. Now, I personally don't use pendulum for packing, but I'm just showing you that you can if you want to or you prefer to. Gav, that I've just done the collaboration with, he uses the pendulum technique to pack his black. I do not. It slows him down. I believe it would slow me down, and I don't want that, but he prefers it, so give it a go. But that's the 7. This is the 13. Again, notice what I'm doing, trying to stay within the width of the needle that I'm using. All right, we're somewhat there. And finally, the 23. Getting there. I would say, as a side note, if you are new to tattooing, I know my machine's not wrapped or anything like that, okay? Make sure you do wrap your machines and practice good, you know, good cross-contamination and good hygiene while you're learning. Do not, you know, go by my example. Make sure you treat your fake skin like you would treat a client. I asked my fake skin if they want a cup of tea, but ignorant git didn't answer me. But that is the 23 packed with pendulum, the 13 packed with pendulum, and the 7 packed with pendulum. And just to show you, because, you know, I'm a nice guy, we're going to go with the 23 again, right? And we're going to use the 2.4 Fold Pro. And we're going to do pendulum again, just to prove my point. And there we have it, a 23 used on a 2.4 Fold Pro with the pendulum technique. So that is the pendulum technique. Like I said, the only real difference between the pendulum while you're packing and the pendulum while you are layering up is you're wiping a little bit less when you are packing, because you know you need that full solid saturation. Whereas when you're building with pendulum, you need to build those layers slowly. But as you can see, pendulum, it can be done. And now finally, we are on to the last technique, that being a cross hatch motion. So what you're gonna do is, rather than working at 45 degree, you're gonna lift your machine a little bit, so you're more 90, and then you're just gonna come down. And then once you've done a few passes coming down, you're going to come diagonal, and then from the other side, and then you can go across. Now cross hatching, I would say, is the one that I like to use the most, especially when I am doing blackout. But what I will say with cross hatch, it is a lot harder to keep it consistent. So while you are doing it, make sure you are like somehow counting the amount of passes that you are doing. So you might do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that way. Okay, just to keep it consistent throughout the entire piece that you are, you know, filling in. It's not so bad with color, but with black you can definitely tell. So now we're on the 13 curve mag, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. It's incredibly easy to overwork doing this technique, so be careful because you are going over the same areas. Needs a little bit more. And that's a solid pack. Finally, onto the 23. Again, keeping the machine more upright. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're using a bigger needle, so we just need to go over it a little bit more. So again, we're going to come from diagonal, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll come from this side, and then down, and then across. While ever you are packing, just make sure you are completely aware of how the skin's looking. If the skin, like, you know, changes texture at any point, all right, you could be overworking. So just pay attention. And that is a pack using a cross hatch. So I've kept you waiting long enough. What is the voltage? What voltage should you be using to pack color or pack black? Now the reason I've kept it till last is because I just wanted to show you something, all right? Voltage doesn't matter. It's so individual to you as the artist. Your voltage is not the same as my voltage, and vice versa, all right? Now I just want to do a little demonstration to show you what I mean. So for this, what I want to do is I'm going to use the 13 curve mag because it's a little bit of a harder needle to push, and I'm going to use 3 different voltages, 5, 7, and 10. So starting off with 5. So the machine is running extremely slow. I'm going to use the, let's go with the small circles. Again, this is 5 volts. All right, let's give it a quick wipe. Packed absolutely perfect. All right, now we're going to go up to 7 volts. 7 volts. Another quick wipe, and then finally let's go up to 10. Now you really shouldn't be running this machine at 10, but so the big difference, what is the big difference? I'm just working faster the higher I go up in volts. Voltage, completely irrelevant. And there you have it. I have just packed at 5 volts, I've just packed at 7 volts, and I've just packed at 10 volts. Does it look any different? Absolutely not. It's so irrelevant, and it is all based on you and your hand speed. I hope you've learned something from this video. It honestly really doesn't matter which technique you use. Try all three and see which works best for you. You want super solid color. Now always remember that colors are different and they interact different with skin. So a yellow, for example, is not going to be the same as red. So watch out for that when you are packing. You may feel like it's not going in, even though you are doing the correct techniques, but it could just be the color that you are using. You'll have to do your first pass of color, let it settle in skin. Only once it's settled will you see if you need to go over it. Don't keep going over and over, otherwise you will start overworking. Now the only time I would say that a specific technique is required is for blackout. If you want to know how to do blackout, then there is a video on the channel and you'll get some nice information from there. But if you are going for blackout, I would recommend crosshatch. But subscribe to the channel, hype up the video, like the video, and I will see you all in the next one. Do not forget to turn on the bell to get notified every time I upload. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe some more. And like and comment also. In a bit. Much love.